Good day, students. You are welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, we'll be looking at the cell. And under this topic, we are going to be looking at the historical background of the cell and also the forms in which cell exists. We all know that the cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. And when you look at the historical background of the cell, the first name that comes to mind is Robert Hooke. Robert Hooke is an English scientist. He invented the microscope and he was able to discover and name the cell in 1665. This is the picture of Robert Hooke here and the picture of the microscope he invented. And this is what he saw under the microscope. After using the microscope to observe a thin slice of cork, he was able to see empty spaces, which he called cell. Then this man here, Felix du Jardin. Felix du Jardin is a French scientist. In 1834, he discovered that the cell consists of living substance, which he named sarcos. But we call it now protoplasm. So he discovered the protoplasm of the cell. We also have this man here by name Matthias Sladen. He's a German biologist. And in 1938, Matthias Sladen confirmed that all plants are made up of cells. His counterpart, who is Theodor Schwann, also a German biologist, he was also able to conclude and reveal that animals are also made up of cells. This happened in 1839, and together with Rudolf von Virchow, they were able to come up with the cell theory. Rudolf von Virchow is a German biologist also, and in 1855 discovered in his research that all cells come from pre-existing cells. Then the three of them come together. That is Sladen, Schwann, and Virchow, and you are able to form the cell theory. And what is involved in the cell theory? The cell theory states that, number one, all living organisms are composed of one or more cells. Number two, the cell is the structural and functional unit of all living organisms. It is the basic organizational unit of life. Then number three, all cells come from pre-existing cells. Number four, the cell contains hereditary material in its nucleus that we call the nucleic acid. Cell as a living unit of an organism. The cell, as we said before, is the basic unit of all living organisms because it can carry out all life functions such as growth, reproduction, feeding, respiration, excretion, movement, and sensitivity. An organism may consist of one cell and is termed unicellular. Examples of unicellular organisms include amoeba, paramecium, euglena, and so on and so forth. We also have organisms that are composed of many cells. These are multicellular organisms. Examples include hydra, earthworm, birds, man, etc. Cells exist in variety of shapes and sizes and also perform a wide variety of functions. Living cells can exist in different forms. They can exist as an independent organism. They can exist as a colony. they can exist as filaments, and they can also exist as part of a multicellular organism. The first one is cell existing as an independent organism. These are single free living organisms that are at the cellular level. Examples are amoeba, paramecium, euglena, and chlamydomonas. The organisms in this category are mostly microscopic, and their body consists of only one cell. So this organism can live on its own in nature. However, some are parasitic, like Plasmodium that causes malaria, and also trypanosome that causes trypanosomiasis, that is sleeping sickness. We also have some other that are not parasitic but are autotrophic, like in the case of Chlamydomonas. This is an example of unicellular organism which is motile with a cup-shaped chloroplast. It is a free-living autotroph and move about using their whip-like flagella. Autotroph means it can produce its food by itself. This organism is sensitive to changes in its surrounding and gets rid of excess material by means of contractile vacuole. Another example of cell living and independent life is amoeba. Amoeba is the simplest unicellular organism that is heterotrophic. That is, it feeds on other organisms. It cannot produce its own food by itself, and it gets rid of excess water or excess material using contractile vacuole. It also has the ability to move using pseudopodia and can reproduce asexually by binary fission. Another example is euglena, which has both plant and animal characteristics or features. It has chloroplast for making food and a gullet for taking in food. Cell living as a colony. Some organisms are composed of many similar cells that are massed together but are undifferentiated. They form loosely arranged association that we call colony of cells, which are motile. Example is Volvox that is shown in the picture on the screen. We also have other examples like Pandorina and Endorina. A Volvox colony is made up of a number of chlamydomonas-like cells arranged as a single layer to form a hollow ball. These cells are connected by cytoplasmic strands. Each cell has flagella which beat in a coordinated manner so that the colony is able to move in a definite direction together. Cell can also exist as a filament. Example is this Spirogyra on your screen there. Some plants are composed of groups of similar cells that are joined end to end. You can see the Spirogyra on your screen, that we have like 3 of them that are joined together end to end, forming a long chain. This means that they can exist as a filament. Example is Spirogyra, and another example is Zygnema that is shown on your screen now. And these filamentous organisms, they live in slow moving fresh water or streams or ponds or ditches as floating green strands near the surface of the water. You must have seen them around. All the cells in the filament are alike in shape and structures, but independent of each other in function. Cell can also live as part of multicellular organism. Many multicellular organisms have group of cells which are similar in shape and structure, and they form units which perform a specialized function that are called cell tissues. Then these organisms with tissue organization rely on the interdependence of this tissue for their existence, and it also occurs in plants. Example of cells living as part of a multicellular organism is the mesophyll cell in green plant, the xylem vessel that is used for conducting water in plants also. We also have the epidermis that acts as protective units for plants. Then we have the cheek cell and also the blood cells. These are examples of tissues in man. That is when cells come together to form tissue. These are examples of cell living as part of a multicellular organism. This is where I'm going to stop today. Please subscribe.